There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. My name is Priscilla Almquist Olson, your host. Today is August 25th, 2021, and I am delighted to share this program with the Richardson Olmsted Garden Club. Now, maybe you haven't heard of the Richardson Olmsted Garden Club, but you will be filled in today, and we are delighted to have Monica Hurley Lawson here with us. She is the teacher coordinator of the club, and two of her helpers. To my left is Kira Palm, to her left is Corinne Stewart. And missing, unfortunately, is the third helper, Christian
Boysenalt.
What's his last name?
Boysenalt.
Okay. And Christian, we hope to see you maybe another time. But greetings to you and to all our viewers. We're going to learn a lot today about growing vegetables. And Monica, please tell us a little bit about the history of the garden club.
Sure. Well, some years ago, I believe the man's name is David Feeney. And he, out back of RO, built within a fenced area a lot of raised beds. So there's about 10 of them now. And it kind of did its thing. I wasn't involved at the time, and then it went, nobody worked on it for a while. But then 3 years ago, we started it up again. I had help from a teacher, and the last 2 years, I've kind of led it myself. But as far as Christian goes, I invited him because, and these two girls, because they're my veterans. They're our veterans. The three of them were here since third grade, so third, fourth, and fifth, and now they're going over to sixth grade. So we're losing them, and I'm going to miss them. But the whole idea behind it was to grow vegetables, herbs, maybe even flowers and fruits, right, for the food pantry, the Easton Food Pantry.
Wow, what a noble goal.
It's so great. Do you guys love it?
Yes.
But at the same time, I understand that it's a teaching tool.
It is, because so in the spring we start inside because it's cool, but we want to get the kids involved. So we start seedlings, right? We get bags of soil sometimes donated. We'll go into the science lab after school for an hour, and we'll do as much planting as we can that doesn't have to be direct sowed. Remember, which ones do we direct sow? Do you remember which ones we direct sow? Right outside?
Carrots.
And peas.
Peas, yes.
Right? So everything else, the herbs and the veggies, we'll try to do on our own.
So you have little tomato plant seedlings?
We do.
Now, to our viewing audience, you can see that Monica has brought a little sampling of some of the vegetables that are being grown here. So we see green pepper, we see tomatoes, chives
Yep.
as a herb, and different kinds of tomatoes, the
Right.
little grape tomatoes, both red and yellow. So how about squash?
Oh yeah, we did have it last.
Yeah.
Didn't we have it?
Yeah.
When did we have it? Last year?
Yeah.
We had the yellow squash.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it
and
didn't
is there
grow.
a cucumber in there?
There is.
Okay.
Oh, we've had plenty. We had 11 the first time, the first week when they were ready, and then 10 and 10, and now it's starting to wane a little bit.
Mhm. Good. So, Corinne, tell us a little bit about what you like most about having this garden at your school.
What I like most is that I love growing stuff at home, and just bringing it and doing it at the school after school is really an exciting way to end the school day. And I love that we donate the food to the food pantry, which makes the whole experience like a lot more real.
Yeah.
And how
I
about
agree.
you, Kara? What do you like most about this whole program from the beginning to the end?
I really liked it because in the beginning I would get pulled out of class a few times,
Louder.
a few times, and I would get to water the plants a ton.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, and then the experience of staying after school and helping out with the garden was wicked fun.
So you like to see the process, the growing process.
Yes.
Right. Now, I understand that your dad, and what's his first name?
Corey Palm.
Corey Palm, of the famous Palm family, landscapers in Easton, who created the most wonderful Povis Park, which is near my neighborhood, at the corner of Center Street and Bridge
Shout out
Street.
to Joe.
And so your dad has also helped out. What has he contributed?
He has contributed compost to the school.
I think mulch too, probably.
Yeah.
And so he does this
just
every
always
year,
does.
doesn't he?
Yes.
To start off the program. Well, you should be very proud of your dad.
Yes.
As I'm sure he's very proud of you for your contributions. So, which part of the learning experience, Corinne, do you like? Now, she likes the process, watering, taking care of, seeing them grow, and Kira does. But how about you?
I also like the process is a great learning experience, and it also this program has taught me a lot of patience and watching things grow. It takes time, and that good things will take time.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective. Yeah. So that applies to life in general, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me, what about the? Do you know much about the history of the people involved? How it got started? What inspired people to have a garden at the school?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, before we decided to donate to the food pantry, I think it was just an outdoor learning space, incorporated into the science, so the kids could be brought out by the teachers and check out what's growing, and our pollinators, so we could see the bees at work, etc., which is so much more plentiful now because the gardens are up and growing again. So I think that was the main focus, is to have an area of learning outside. Yeah.
Well, I know that Parkview
I
School
was just going to say that. Yeah,
started, and I interviewed the principal, Chris. What was his name?
Well, it used to be Chris Getchell, but now he's the principal at our
Yes,
school.
I know. He
Yeah.
is, Chris Getchell.
Right.
And he was instrumental in starting it, and they had a very profuse garden. And
it's
at
awesome.
the end of the season in September, when the kids would come back to school, they would have a pizza party. And what do you think the pizza was made of? All the tomatoes and even some zucchini.
That's excellent.
So-
I never thought of that one.
So they would slice the tomatoes and the zucchini and whatever other vegetables they wanted, and and then some basil that they had grown. They'd sprinkle the basil over it, and of course throw in some cheese. But that was their celebration. Do you have a celebration of some sort at the end of the season or at harvest time? Or is your celebration the fact that you donate all this food to the food pantry?
Yes, that is a celebration
Yeah.
for us.
Well, what did you get to take home?
I got to take home cucumbers,
Talk a little louder.
tomatoes, and a few peppers.
So
too.
the seedlings, right?
Yeah.
Right. But then, so just to interject, they get seedlings that they grow, but then they get to pick their own at the end because they should be able to take some home, put it in their own yard, and they get to eat along the way too.
I got to take home a tomato plant, and it's growing at home right now. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Have you harvested any?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Okay.
Tomatoes were late this year.
Yeah, the tomato, but you'll get the tomatoes pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And so, how do you eat your tomatoes? Corinne, how do you eat them?
How do you like them? What do you do with them?
Well, I don't actually have tomatoes that much, but when I do, I'll usually put them in a salad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how about you, Kira? How do you eat your tomatoes?
I usually cut them up and just eat them on, and put them on.
I can't hear you, honey.
I usually put them on my burgers
Oh,
at
yeah.
home.
Great idea.
Delish.
So you slice them thin.
Yes,
Yes.
very thin.
Yes, you know, I do that too. If I have a reduced calorie English muffin, just a half of one, I'll put some cheese,
All right, a little pizza.
and then I'll put some Swedish meadwurst, which is a Swedish salami, thin. It's like paper thin, and then I'll have those sliced tomatoes, and sometimes I'll put lettuce on the bottom too, or cucumbers sliced very thin. So it's lettuce, cucumbers, cheese, meadwurst, and then that tomato
Wow,
on the top.
listen to that.
And I sprinkle garlic powder on mine and pepper, and boy, does that bring out the tomato. Woo!
You guys gonna try that now?
Yeah.
Sounds good, right? Yeah.
Anyway, so, and sometimes it's a little hard. You have to have a big mouth to get around that stack, right? Okay.
Well, we grew lettuces one year. We grew
Yeah.
lettuce, kale, but we have much more than this growing too at the garden. That's
Just a little sample.
because we have to save it for the food pantry. We harvest every Friday morning.
I see. And so I imagine it all goes. I mean, they have so many
Yeah.
people now that they
Right.
serve.
Yep.
And it must give you a lot of sense of pride and feel good feeling, doesn't it, Kira and Corinne?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It feels good to do something that I love that really pays off in the community.
I'm sorry, that what?
It feels good to do something that I love, but it also is helping people.
Yes, I know. And that's really why we're here on the planet, isn't it? To be kind to each other, love each other, and do loving acts. And you certainly do, the two of you. That's great. And along the way, you're learning something, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so tell me, have you been able to educate your parents about growing things? Have they seen those seedlings at home, and have they created some enjoyment to see you and to see the plants growing, and also maybe a little patience? Have you noticed that of your parents?
Yeah.
What do you think, Kira?
They really enjoy watching me run out to my garden. It's right next to our shed, and so I go out there to make sure none of the bunnies get in there.
Oh, the bunnies.
Yeah, and I usually bring back tomatoes and raspberries and all that fun stuff.
Right. And I'm sure that your dad provides enough compost, so your plants really must take off, don't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
And isn't that the secret to have natural compost? You know, my father always believed in cow manure, and so I usually get at least a bag of cow manure every year and put that on in my flower gardens. And and sometimes it's a good idea to put it at the end of the season, I think, too, because then it'll soak in, and with all the snow
Feed
and
the
all.
soil.
And then in the spring, it'll be great growing soil for my plants. Yeah. And how about you?
So when I was little, I used to garden with my mom, but now I'm doing like my whole garden by myself, and she really likes to see all the plants that I grow, and my dad too.
Great,
Awesome.
great.
That's awesome.
And have you noticed your parents being a little bit more patient with you because of all this patience that they have to have with the garden?
Yes.
Yes.
Hear that, parents?
Really? Yeah.
Really? You think
Okay.
so?
Well, we'll see.
I don't know.
Yes.
But that was the right answer.
That was the right answer.
So,
That's cute.
Monica, you must get a lot of joy from your participation. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's my favorite thing. So I'm working all day at school, as a para, though I'm retired now. And it's the best thing once a week to go and have my troop come and go outside. And not always, of course. On rainy days, we'll stay inside and learn something else, or we'll have something planned. And just to know that it brings them joy brings me joy, because that's my favorite thing ever. Like with my photography too, if people love it and it makes them happy, then I'm happy. So if it makes you guys happy, and the Easton Food Pantry, right? It's the best.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Ken Woods, who's the founder
We have to
and
mention Ken.
originator of the food pantry,
Yep.
is so delighted and appreciative.
Yeah.
And he must really enjoy it because, you know, he has a little grandson, or he has more than one. But
Probably.
I know the one grandson that his youngest daughter has.
Okay.
Elizabeth.
Right.
No.
Kristen.
Kristen.
Yep. Christine, yeah.
Christine.
Right.
Right. And so, you know, it must give him a lot of satisfaction too.
Oh, it's a thrill. And I took this picture last time I dropped off
Great.
and put it on Facebook. Oh, probably just took it.
Now, do you have a Facebook page?
I do. It's just under my name.
Oh, okay.
And Monica Lawson Art, but that's another topic.
No, I know. We're going to do that another time. But is this? Does the Richardson Olmsted Garden Club have a Facebook
No,
page?
no. But how interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, don't you?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Thanks, Priscilla.
You're welcome, Monica. So
That's a good idea. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I think I will.
Yeah. Well, you'll see. I mean, you're so talented. You could do
Oh,
any of that.
thank you.
So, when you think about fresh vegetables and so forth, grown organically, because that's what you guys are doing, right? You don't put any pesticides on anything.
No.
You know, everything is organic. And so, how do you feel that's important? Kara, how do you feel that's important to grow organically?
Because if you add other things to it, it might kill the plant and then you might not have anything. But it tastes more fresh when you do it organically.
And Corinne, so what about the toxicology of the plants? What about the food that we eat? And when it's organic, what's missing?
Well, I feel like when you grow organically, the food that you eat is just so much more natural, and it feels like it's really good for the earth to grow organically too.
But it's missing the toxins that pesticides bring, right? Yeah. Just recently, the Food and Drug Administration has banned, I can never pronounce it, it starts with a GY, something fate. And it's it's part of Roundup, which is also a terrible thing to put on plants, and because those toxins get into our body when we eat the fruit or the vegetable. And so they have banned this particular product. And what most people don't know about this pesticide is that it's most frequently used in cornfields. And so every time you eat a Cheerio, all right, the oats also, you know, there is that product in it. So, you know, it's just very important that...
That's because it's monoculture. You need permaculture. You can't just grow corn and corn and corn. If you have the other plants around it, that helps with beneficial and
yes,
predator, you know,
but when
pests.
you have commercial, big, huge farms,
They
they're
could
not
still-
interested in that, Monica. So,
I know. I wish they would configure it though. They really
Right.
seriously need.
So by banning this, they're going to have to learn
Right.
to do things more organically the way you and the girls have been doing.
Biodiversity.
Yes, biodiversity. And you mentioned something about the rabbits. Now,
Uh-oh.
I gotta. How have the rabbits? Have they been kind to your garden?
Yes, last year they were not. They ate all the carrots and all the tomatoes.
Oh.
So, but this year we got new netting and it's been keeping them away.
So, what was that last part?
We got new netting for
New netting. Okay.
the garden.
Nice.
Okay. Well, you know, the bunnies have to eat too, right?
Just give them some clover.
Yeah, and also, you know, some nice grass that doesn't have pesticides on it. And what are your thoughts about the bunnies, Corinne?
I think that it helps. I think it helps a little bit that our garden has raised beds instead.
Oh, right,
It makes it harder
school.
for them to get to it. So, but at home I have a fence around my garden, and I have I put marigolds around
Yes.
some of my
Right.
vegetables, so it's harder for them to get to it.
Well, we actually had a little, I don't know what you call them, brood of bunnies that raised themselves in the garden, which is fenced in with the raised beds. Did you know this? I can't remember. Did you know this? Because when Christian was with me, they were just the little babies. Or maybe it was just Trevor, but last year they were there too. But this year when my son came over and helped, I was like, whoa! All of a sudden in the strawberry patch, there was just these little teeny bunnies. I forgot to tell you, Guy. Were you there?
Yeah, I
can't
was there.
remember.
So
But
their home
they
is
won't eat anything though. They were nice.
so their home is in the inside the garden underneath.
I mean, I think that's what they're doing yearly now, but they leave afterwards and don't.
Strange
know.
bunnies.
They're just nice.
Nice bunnies. Yeah. Well, my bunnies, they live under my shed,
Oh no.
and they've been living there for a long time. And so every day in the morning and then at dusk, about 4 o'clock between 4 and 5 in the afternoon, they like to come out and nibble
Oh.
in my flower garden. What do you think they like the most?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. They like the daisies, the yellow daisies, the brown-eyed Susans,
Really?
and the baby's breath.
No kidding.
But most of
That's
all, they love the green hosta. Not the variegated hosta. They don't eat that. It's the solid
That's
green.
funny.
And so when they were nibbling, so I put some garlic powder out there, and that kept them away for a while, so that some of those green hostas started to grow back. Well, it was just more food for those bunnies, and that's what happened. So now there's nothing there. So, but I feel it's okay because I don't mind they're eating the hostas. I do mind when they eat the baby's breath.
Yeah, right.
And I
You have
do
to
mind when
share.
they eat those yellow daisies, but they don't like the white daisies. So they're very particular. And it must have something to do, it has to do with the taste of the leaf, I'm sure. I'm sure they go around and sample and then find what they like most.
Can you imagine the bunnies running around?
But I'm so happy that I can feed those bunnies. And
Right.
sometimes they're little ones, not too little, they're like a teenager. And then there's occasionally, but I only see the mothers, the big babies, the big bunnies, out in my grass. So maybe she can educate those little ones a little bit better. So next year I can have baby's breath.
If they can only read.
Right, they can only read. But I was interested to hear, Corinne, that you put marigolds around, and that is a very good thing because that keeps away all kinds of bunnies and deer and everything, right?
Yeah. My little brother was growing sunflowers, and he did the same thing, and it really helped for them because his sunflowers, they grow really, really tall. So it's very helpful to have the marigolds because the natural fence around the plant.
Where do we usually plant them?
The marigolds,
Where do we plant them? Around what?
around the beds.
Which ones, mostly? Do you remember? Where do we put the marigolds at in the raised beds? What do they?
Around the sunflower?
No.
Wait.
I know, quizzing them. They can't get tomatoes around the tomatoes, especially.
Yeah.
All around the tomatoes. Well, see, because of COVID, and everything, it's been really hard getting. And they're summer vacation, so it's. You invite them and then they're busy and during the school year though they see it because we planted those from seed, the marigolds, remember?
So now who does the watering? Because that's something that has to be done even during the summer, especially when people are on vacation, right?
Kara, remember who watered this year mostly?
The sky.
Yeah.
This year.
Mother Nature
Oh,
this
Mother
year.
Nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so rainy, so it's been
Yeah.
perfect. But I'll get parent volunteers sometimes. I get kids who just want to get involved in that way and not even garden club members. And I also want to mention, before we forget, is Langwater Farm, because they always step up in anything that we want for seedlings. If we don't want to grow it, we're like, maybe we'll just do this special and have them help us out. So they did cucumbers. They've done bell peppers. So they're always there for us.
That's
Theo
wonderful.
Dwyers, they're awesome.
Yeah, and have Kate and Kevin O'Dwyer, have they ever come and talk to the garden club? Because
Look at all these ideas. She's got a RO Facebook page. We're gonna have the Dwight's come. We're gonna have a pizza party.
well,
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
I'm full of ideas.
All right. Well, we have to talk more often.
Before I became a lawyer, I was a creative writing teacher in the junior high school. So, and then I taught drama too.
Middle school.
Yeah, and I taught drama too. So I've always been in the creative arts. And my son, Eric Olson, he's a film producer in Hollywood.
How cool is that?
And a screenwriter. So he's got my creative genes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But DNA.
Yeah. So, okay, and we're going to have, for the viewing audience, we're going to have photos that Monica has brought in showing the raised beds and some of the seedling producing in the classroom pictures.
Yep.
And so forth, so you can get a better idea of that. And we thank Kim Pincus for inserting those into our program.
Right.
So to all those Richardson Olmsted students out there who are coming back and shortly, tell us how they can get involved.
Okay, so yeah, this is the deal. Because of the pandemic, it was limited. Right when I was going to start a garden club 2 years ago, we were going to have 3 different sets, or 3 groups of kids coming in. It was going to be a total of maybe 40 kids. Last year, what did we have, 6?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still limiting it to 6. What's going to happen at RO is we'll have the teachers talk to the kids and see who's interested. But I'm really only going to, I think I'm only going to take 2 3rd graders, 2 4th graders, 2 5th graders.
Okay.
Because I think I'm going to be alone doing this because we don't know what's going to be happening.
I have another idea.
What do you got? Lay it on me.
Okay. I think there should be a little field trip to Langwater, because Langwater is a organic farm,
I gotta write this stuff down.
and you know that's the place to be. Now I belong to the Easton Grange, and as such I am the program chair. So I've had Kevin on the program at least twice, and most recently a few months ago, talking about how he dealt with COVID, and you know.
Yeah, a lot of protocols to set up for that.
And then how he's recovered and what his current offerings were. But you know, the most important thing is that that's an organic farm, and
Right.
you know, it's a big deal. How when you're at that scale, on that in that capacity,
Right.
you know, it's quite a challenge. But he's up for it, and he loves it. And Kate too. They're a wonderful team, and I'm sure that they could give you guys a lot of pointers and maybe show you how to expand what you grow.
Well, Priscilla, maybe we should ask the girls if they're gonna start a garden club over at the middle school, since they're heading there this fall. I mean, they're leaving me. I'm so sad. My veterans are leaving me. Christian!
But that's a great
They
idea.
could maybe start something over there. I'm not telling you have to.
No, and I'm sure the principal, Luke,
Yep.
I'm sure he would be very
Yeah, you never know.
happy.
You never know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And then your dad could be delivering to 2 places.
Oh my goodness.
Well, anything you want to add, Monica?
No, I'm trying to think that I don't want to forget anyone. Thank you so much for all of the Easton parents, residents who have donated their time, their resources over the years, compost, mulch, just support, and I hope we talked about everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
you did.
Langwater, the seedlings, David Feeney. Did I say? I mentioned
did.
David. You know, we got to roll the credits. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
And Mr. Getchell, obviously our principal, for allowing me to continue to be the leader. I'm really happy about that.
well, he's the big promoter. After
Yeah.
all, he started
Yeah.
the whole thing in Easton when he started
Over-
the raised bed gardens at Parkview.
At Parkview.
Yeah.
Right.
So, are you going to be thinking about starting a garden? You know, but you're going to have to get a teacher or a para, somebody up there, and maybe Monica can help you with that, huh?
Yeah.
Finding
See
the
how it
right
goes.
person. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for being here and being my guest today, Corinne Stewart and Kira Palm, and of course Monica Hurley
Don't you love how she says
Lawson.
Monica? Can you say that again?
Oh, I'm so sorry. You
I
know,
love it. No,
Oh,
you're fine.
you know what it is?
It's your accent.
No, it's my Swedish spin on
There you
the
go.
name.
I like it.
Because I have relatives in Sweden who are named Monica. Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
I can sometimes, I can't help it. When I was a school teacher in New Jersey, the principal said to me that your students don't understand you with that Boston accent.
That's funny, right?
And he says, you're going to have to change. And I said, I can't.
Cod, what's cod?
I can't. So
That's great.
anyway, and my kids, of course, my students loved it. And interestingly enough, they paid much more attention to what I was saying
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
because they were intrigued with the accent.
Right.
So the principal was totally wrong on that score.
That's funny.
And I was voted most, what was it? Most interesting, or most, what was it I was voted? It wasn't most.
Intriguing.
Yeah, it was most, I don't know. Boy, oh boy. See, I'm having a senior moment.
Well, it happens to the best of us.
Yes, it does. Well,
You don't have to be a senior either.
no. Anyway, thank you again for coming, and to our viewing audience, I hope you've enjoyed this program as much as we have producing it. Until next time, be well.